Good afternoon. I'm Cindy Bertram, and thanks for joining me today on Good Ship Happens. Well, yes, I have been immersed in a really fantastic conference earlier this week, Sea Trade Cruise Global. I was there. It was phenomenal. I've been going to it, oh my gosh, for several years, but Sea Trade Cruise Global actually started over, I think this is their 37th year. It's phenomenal. It's geared toward people that are in the marine hospitality industry, but also, of course, with sea trade and cruise ships too. Phenomenal. What they do is they have different cruise line executives that speak at different at the convention center, which is great, and they do updates on what they're doing now too and sharing stories. And what they do is it actually started on April 8th and it ended on April 11th in the afternoon. It was fantastic because once again there were some brand new news that cruise lines are sharing by their cruise line chairman and presidents. It was so much fun to see people I know and also learn just different new exciting things because once again the cruise industry is growing in such phenomenal ways. And as I like to tell people, yes, good ship happens. Yes. Well, one that came up too is we've got, like I said, some new cruise line ships coming out. I got a chance to be at MSC Cruises. They did a special event at the trade show later on, and one of their ships, which is going to be coming out, um, it's their it's designed for their U.S. market, which is great. But it's called the MSC World America. Should be launching in April of 2025, and they did a special event regarding that too. She will actually be sailing out of Port Miami, and right now with MSC Cruises, they're actually expanding this port where the ship will actually sail out of, and they shared some things about it too. But one thing that just came up that I just got this week too while I was at the conference was they've got a new attraction that's going to dangle passengers 160 feet over the ocean. Yes, it sounds really kind of phenomenal. I don't know if I would do it, but it's actually swings 160 feet over the water, and it's kind of a special first of a kind over water swing ride at sea. And I did find a picture. It sounds kind of interesting. I'll share the picture. I don't know if I'd have the courage to do it, but once again, it depends because you'd be very, very safe. But once again, they just announced it this week, and it's exclusive to the MSC World Class America, which is going to be launching Christen in April of 2025. But here is a picture I found, okay? She actually can swing and be 160 feet over the water. And it's in their family adventure district, which is, and it's going to be named the Cliffhanger. Okay, it's going to feature two sets of two seats with, and they swing independently over the ship's edge. Okay, so think about that in the future if you do like swinging on chairs. Well, now you can safely swing on a chair 160 feet up over the ocean on a cruise ship. Okay. But how fun is that? This just came up. I thought, okay, we have to share it because it's another angle as far as good things going on in the industry. Very, very innovative too. But that was kind of fun. Something else that at the conference I was attending a lot of press conferences, and oh my gosh, the growth is just phenomenal. Um, One thing too about MSC Cruises, what they did was when I was at the event this week, they had a special event in their area. And what they did was they're going to do the naming ceremony. The ship is actually christened. As I mentioned, she's going to be coming out in April. Her christening is going to take place on April 9th, and it's for the MSC World America in Miami. And their naming ceremony is going to be taking place on April 9th, and it's going to be at their new Port Miami cruise terminal. And once again, it really honors how MSC Cruises is really investing in Miami, and also is they're really committed to the North American market too. And of course, it'll have the traditional breaking the champagne bottle, and of course, immersive different events too with entertainment. They haven't named who the godmother or godmother will be, but they usually use Sophia Loren as their godmother, as a tradition with the MSC Cruises family. And should be it's going to be the first the MSC World America, more about her, is going to be the MSC Cruises' largest ship to serve in the United States, and it's the first in the region that's going to be powered by liquefied natural gas, LNG. And it's the second of their groundbreaking world-class ships. And this one is specifically designed to with the North American guest in mind. It's going to have different unique restaurants, different bars and experiences. They'll blend in their European design with also American comfort. She will actually have 22 different decks, and as far as she'll feature 2,614 staterooms, and then some other things too about it. Like I said, it's going to be the launch of their new Port Miami cruise terminal, which is great too. And also, one thing about MSC Cruises, they've been updating their headquarters in downtown Miami. And something they're doing right now is they've got their private out island. It's called Ocean Cay MSC Marine Reserve. And they're updating it right now, spending, I heard, over $100 million. I'll be sure to remember that later on, because they closed it down temporarily to guests, and they've been redoing the island, add more to it. But once again, it's a beautiful island, and it's an island that actually the parent company, the family, which owns MSC Cruises, actually negotiated a deal to lease that island from the Bahamian government for 100 years for $100 million. And the island had been part of a company, and when the company left, they left everything. The MSC Cruises invested over $400 million of own money to really get the money that island back in shape. They had to tow away scrap metal, 1,500 tons. The trees were dead. They rebuilt trees, and the marine life was dead, so they're building different things too, which is great too. So it's really great what they're doing too. And like I said, with the ship running on LNG, liquefied natural gas, which is what cruise lines are doing right now, because they want to be net zero by 2050. But once again, it really is a great way to reduces the emissions, of course, too. And once again, it just can actually be switched off in port, because a lot of times you have some ways to actually operate that too. But just want to share that too, because they just announced the naming ceremony. It's going to take place on April 9th of next year. And it'll be taking place at Port Miami in their new cruise terminal, which is great too. Some other details about the World America. I know she's going to have, I think, 13 different restaurants. And she's got a reimagined outdoor area called the World Esplanade, which is unique dining, lounging, entertainment options. She'll have the Butcher's Cut Steakhouse, the Kato Sushi and Teppanyaki, and Hola Tacos in the Cantina. They got 4 main restaurants, and they're globally inspired cuisine, also American favorites too. Plus, they've got 2 buffets, which will be offering different choices for casual dining. They've got the Luna Park Pizza and Burger. That's complimentary. They have casual fast food, etc. And they're going to be 20 different bars and lounges, including their new sports bar. And it's going to have just a really warm and fun feeling, combining sports and technology, entertainment, a space where guests of all ages can really just relax and feel welcome too. Also, something new for the MSC Cruises is their comedy club. And it's a place where the guests on board can actually sit back and just enjoy some good laughs. Who doesn't like to laugh and watch comedy? And then in the evenings, what they'll do is have interactive and a comical dueling piano experience for people. And once again, they'll have different comedians there too, and that will rival some of the best shows that are in New York City as well as Chicago. And also, they've got their gin project, and that offers an extensive choice of craft gins with classic cocktails. And then also the Masters of the Sea on MSC Cruises Classic British Pub. Okay, that's on board too. And that's going to have a full-scale microbrewery making the MSC Signatures beers on board too. And they've also got some new concept. They've got this striking 11-deck high dry slide made of stainless steel. and gives guests a fun way to really reach the lower decks in style. They've got 6 pools on board, 14 different hot tubs. They'll have a spacious indoor pool with a retractable roof, which is great. And then they've got these two twin adults only Zen pools in the aft of the ship. And they've got an expansive water park for people to enjoy with water slides, etc. And they've got a kids club, of course, too. And then they've got, of course, their beautiful MSC Yacht Club. And if you've not heard of that, it's called the Ship Within the Ship concept. It's something that MSC Cruises created a long time ago, and I actually had a chance to experience it myself. It was amazing because what they do is you're still on the ship, but when they created this, probably around 2012, I believe, or 2013, what they did was it's a special area dedicated. You pay more, but you have balcony staterooms, you have your own butler service, you have your own private restaurant, you've got your own private pool area, or a nice place to go for casual things too, and it's just amazing too. And I've had a chance to stay there myself too a few years ago, and also I've seen their MSC Yacht Club on some of the new ships too, but it's really fantastic. So once again, with the MSC World Americas coming out in April of 2025, that's less than a year away, and you might want to think about that too, because once again, beautiful things are doing on board. Plus, once again, if you really want to maybe try and swing in a chair, you know, and you're not scared about swinging 160 feet over the water, well, then maybe consider doing their cliffhanger, okay? Here's another picture of it, the cliffhanger, okay? But keep it in mind. Something else that came up too is this week, well, at Sea Trade, we have a lot of cruise lines that are adding new ships, okay? And this just came out too. One is, I know that it's called Windstar Cruises, and what they did was they've got some beautiful ships. They're smaller, but they just announced this week at their press conference something really exciting news is Windstar is adding 2 more ships. And one was actually being built for another cruise line, and they took that over. They're smaller. Windstar Cruises is very small, but just beautiful what they do too. And they just announced that they're actually going to be adding 2 more ships, which I think is fun to think about too, because once again, there's so many great things going on in the industry, and once again, it is thriving like crazy, because once again, I think, having gone through the pandemic and the pause on being able to travel and cruise, really, I think, hit people in a different way than going through 9/11. When we went through 9/11, I had worked myself as a travel advisor, and people just stopped traveling. They were scared of flying. But in this case, today, having gone through the pandemic, what was it, not quite 2 years, I think people really rethought about what is life to be life on Earth too, and they want to have experiences, immersive ones, okay? And we're seeing a lot of growth in different areas too, because once again, it's just people want experiences. They're not happy just buying things, stuff, but they want experiences with their family, their friends, different things that kind of like come out of different ways too. I know people sometimes use the term bucket list. Well, I don't like that term because I can't put all my dreams in a bucket, so to speak. But once again, it's just great to think about new things that are coming out in the industry. And I think the experiences, because once again, a good example is Antarctica. You have a couple cruise lines that go there periodically. They can't go there certain times of the year, but we've got cruise lines going into Antarctica, which is great. And their ships have been purposely built. They're small. And I know that they're under 100 guest capacity. Atlas Ocean Voyages started doing that, and they do some phenomenal things. What they do is they fly people in first the day before, then they stay in, I think, Buenos Aires, and they take a flight down further, and they do their cruises too, which is great. But Antarctica is really, really hot button, and I just think we're seeing a lot of different things to think about too as far as cruising and what's out there. And once again, we're seeing a lot of smaller cruise ships. They're adding more to their fleets, which is great, because with the smaller cruise ships, I know that sometimes in certain ports, some of the port terminals are really kind of steering away from the big ships going there. they're really embracing the smaller cruise line ships. But it's a great way to actually see those beautiful places, especially in Europe. So keep that in mind too, because once again, what's good too is with the cruise industry, they've got so much flexibility to do too right now too, because once again, they can move ships around depending where the needs are, and also if something were to come up. We're not into hurricane season yet, but if something comes up with a hurricane, definitely keep this in mind, because the cruise lines actually will in advance redirect their ships. Okay, so once again, they will steer clear of out of that hurricane path. I've had that happen myself too. One time I was doing a cruise, it was probably in the late 1990s or maybe the early 2000s. But what happened was we had one itinerary lined up. I think it was like Eastern Caribbean. There's a hurricane coming through, so they switched us over to a Western Caribbean itinerary. Once again, we're very safe, and the cruise line did it way in advance just to keep us out of the storms, figuratively and literally too. So just keep that in mind too, because once again, there's so many things going on in the industry. It's really a fun industry and just great people too, and it's great. And like I said, the new ship's coming out. I was at Sea Trade, of course, this week. What was fun too is we had different executives, cruise line chairmen, that share different things that they're doing. And the one panel that had the cruise line chairman there, what they did was, I know they announced that they're adding 8 more ships to their fleet within their companies. This is Norwegian Cruise Line Corporation, Norwegian Corporation. They announced some new ships for Norwegian Cruise Line, and of course Electra Cruise Line, and another one too. So that was kind of fun to make the big announcement as far as 8 new ships coming out that they're going to be building right now too. So it just builds up, I think, the anticipation of the fun too to think about, because once again, there's a lot of growth, but they're doing things in really, really great ways too, and you need to think about that too. Something else that came up too is we had a special event that came up actually Monday, April 8th. I was down in Miami, and of course at the conference, so I didn't get a chance to really get the glasses to see the solar eclipse. But something that came up too is Cunard Line just made some announcements, because what they're doing is they've got in 2026 they're doing their solar eclipse at sea, which offers prime viewing, and there are 3 ships in the Cunard fleet will be in the path of totality for this next solar eclipse. And they just announced some things they're doing. They just announced this actually yesterday, because once again, we had the solar eclipse that took place on April 8th. It really left viewers with many people thinking, wow, this is really interesting. But once again, Luxury Cruise Line, which is Cunard Line, they just announced that through their queens, they call them their queens, that's their ships, the flagship Queen Mary II, the Queen Victoria, and the newest ship, the Queen Anne, which is coming out this May, will be positioned in really extraordinary destinations, and they'll be directly along the path in the next solar eclipse. This might be a smaller solar eclipse, because I thought the other one's coming out a little bit later. But anyway, this will be in 2026. And with the Queen Mary II, she'll embark on a 14-night voyage through Norway and Iceland on August 4th to the 18th in 2026. And she'll be running their guests with an opportunity to visit the Wonder Solar Eclipse during an overnight stay, and on the evening of August 12th. Okay. And it would be a really immersive type of experience too. And then they mentioned the Queen Anne, which is their new ship coming out in May this year. Yes, the Queen Anne's coming out shortly. But what she's going to do is, with the Queen Anne, she's going to actually be, traversing Spain and France on a 7-night itinerary round trip out of Southampton, England. And then from August 9th to 16th in 2026, guests can really indulge in the exotic Spanish ports, and then stopping by the Bay of Biscay to explore the charming town of, I think it's Policla in France. And then they'll be able to get a phenomenal view from the deck of the Queen Anne as the ship sails from the Spanish harbor. And then the third ship, their third queen, the Queen Victoria, will be sailing on a 7-night Western Mediterranean voyage from Civitavecchia, which is near Rome, to Barcelona, Spain, on August 10th to the 17th, and she'll be visiting Tarragona and then Palma de Mallorca in Spain, plus other places in France. And then on August 12th, the guests will spend the day on the historic site of just an UNESCO World Heritage Site, then board the Queen Victoria, and then have a perfect place to view the solar eclipse coming up too. So they just announced this. It sounds kind of fun. So once again, think about what you experienced. If you got a chance to see the solar eclipse, I didn't this year, but just keep an eye for 2026 because Cunardline is doing some special things just for that too. Something else that came out is Princess Cruises. They do phenomenal things, but with Princess Cruises, they just did a really, really, really fun partnership with Brightline Trains. And what they're doing is, it's beautiful. I've had a chance to do the Brightline Train myself last year. I was at a conference. I had a chance to do Brightline Train from downtown Miami up to Fort Lauderdale and back. It was phenomenal because once again, these are fast-speed trains, but very safe, secure, and they're beautiful. It's not just taking a train, get somewhere. It's just an amazing experience. The areas where they actually stop, their train stations are beautiful. But what they're doing too is, I know that Princess Cruises just announced this. They just unveiled a new rail and sail program in Florida. With Brightline Trains right now, they go from southern Florida up to Orlando, which is great because once again, if you are thinking about Orlando, but want to go further south, rather than renting a car and driving, or maybe trying to find a flight, which is tough to get to, another option right now is to think about Brightline because they are a phenomenal experience. I was just blown away, just fantastic. What they're doing now is with Princess Cruises, they've got this new program with Brightline. What they're doing is they have a special rail and sail program, which offer guests that are going to be sailing on Princess Cruises a really quick and hassle-free way to access Princess cruise ships that sail from 2 Florida ports. They've got ships that sail at Fort Lauderdale and also Port Canaveral, which is about an hour away from Orlando. And with their rail and sail, guests can actually just have a seamless journey with really luxurious comfort. And once again, it's significantly less time than if you were try and fly, which is tough to do, or even try to drive a car, which is longer. And they just made this announcement that includes the debut of a train that has 4 custom design cars that are adorned with Princess Cruises' iconic Love Boat branding. And it just features their signature Sea Witch logo, yes. She's a good sea witch, though. And just beautiful places, popular ports of call too. And once again, I know that Princess's branding is going to be featured on Brightline's 5 terminals throughout Florida too. They just announced that, which I think is great too. One thing that's good too is for people that are booked on Princess Cruises and decide to do that rail and sail program with them, what they do is Princess and Brightline also announced a luggage express service to offer guests the convenience as their bags are checked at their Brightline station and then are waiting for them securely in their stateroom upon arrival to the ship, which means, okay, who doesn't like to have to worry about their luggage after you get off a flight, right? You have to haul it around. Then, if you're taking a taxi, it's more work to do, but also you have to wait, and then you have to when you get to the cruise ship terminal, you have to actually get your bags checked there, and then it arrives in your stateroom. Where in this case, with the special rail and sail program, they have this exclusive luggage express service, which means guests can conveniently check their bags at the Brightline station, and then their luggage is actually waiting for them in their staterooms after they arrive on the ship, which is great. So definitely keep in mind that just sounds so seamless and wonderful, less stress to think about too. You know that Princess is going to be providing guests with complimentary motor coach service between Brightline's Orlando and the Fort Lauderdale stations too, which is great. So once again, if you decide to this rail and sail program, you can actually take the Brightline train. Once again, once you get off Brightline train, they have complimentary motorcar service between Brightline trains, Orlando and Fort Lauderdale stations, which is great too. I think that's just fantastic. So definitely keep that in mind too, because once again with Fort Lauderdale and like I said, they call it Spaceport Orlando. They've got different sailings. I know that with Fort Lauderdale, it's they have nearly half their fleet sailing from Fort Lauderdale, which is great, and also Port Canaveral. They have the Caribbean Princess sailing there now, but different things too. Just definitely keep in mind, because that was just such exciting news to hear that too. Because having had the opportunity to do Brightline trains myself, I just fell in love with the experience, and I've never been a big train rider, but this was just amazing, so luxurious. They have the big oversized leather seats, complimentary drinks, beverages if you're in their premium class. And when you get to their train stations, they are just phenomenal, just beautiful. So definitely keep that in mind. Something else with Princess Cruises, since we're talking about Princess Cruises and their partnership with Brightline Trains, is I know they just rolled out something new. They've got they're making some enhancements to their main dining options on their fleet, which will let guests have more flexibility as far as choices, because they're offering 3 table services. You've got traditional dining, and then you got reservable, and then you got walk-in anytime. And once again, it's coupled with their new Ocean Now location-based anywhere service. So once again, traditionally when cruising first started, you had your traditional dining. You had early dining or late dining. You just had to sit same table, same people. You got that line up in advance, and then cruise lines have really transferred into other options too. But once again, with the 3 different table services that are now available that are through their Ocean Now, it really gives guests the opportunity and convenience of ordering anything, anytime, and receiving it anywhere on board, So keep that in mind too. And of course, you also have their options as far as their other special dining options too. And definitely that's really another thing to think about too. With their other extra dining options, there are some charges. Once again, it's a good way to kind of maybe take a break from something else and just kind of enjoy too. They got special dining restaurants on board too. With the change with Princess Cruises doing this, it doesn't really affect guests who have been booked in special dining restaurants or in a suite or reserve their own collections or dedicated dining on Princess Cruise Line ships where no reservations are required too. But something they just started announcing this week, which is great. So once again, now whether guests perform early seating or late seating or evening, or want to change things up at night, these 3 flexible dining options are now available to really ensure that the dining experiences for guests are really, really effortlessly accommodated too, which I think is really, really fun too. So definitely keep in mind. Something else that I want to share too is going back to the big announcement that Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings mentioned this week at Seatrade Cruise Global Conference. And they have ordered 8 new ships for their all 3 different brands. And they're going to be delivered actually over a 10-year period between 2026 and 2036. And what they're doing is with Norwegian Cruise Line, they've got their 4 Prima class ships that are going to be delivered between 2025 to 2026 or 2028. And also, Norwegian Cruise Line is expected to take delivery of 4 approximately 200,000 gross registered ton ships in 2030, 2032, 2034, and also 2036. And then Oceania Cruises, which is one of their other brands, Separate Luxury, which is great too. But once again, they've had their newest Allura class ships, and they're very successful. Last one's going to be delivered next year in 2025. They are going to take delivery of 2 86,000 registered ton ships with a capacity of 1,450 guests in 2027 and 2029. And then Regent Seven Sea Cruises is going to take delivery of, two 77,000 gross registered ton ships with a capacity of just 850 guests in 2026 and 2029. And details about what they're doing on board these ships is going to be announced a bit later on. But they just made the big announcement early this week at SeaTrail Cruise Global Conference. And one thing that Harry Summer mentioned too, he is the president and CEO of the Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings Corporation. He said the strategic new ship order across all three of our award-winning brands provides the steady introduction of cutting-edge vessels into our fleet and also solidifies our long-term growth, which is great too. Also, he mentioned that they're excited about some additions they're doing to a new pier. They're adding a new pier to Great Stirrup Cay, which is a private out island in the Bahamas, to support that increased capacity in the Caribbean. And that way they can have multiple ships on the island, which is really going to enhance the guest experience too. And so just keep that in mind too, because once again, having 8 new ships they're going to be launching, of course, for several years, which is great, builds up a lot of anticipation too. So it's good news there too. And something else as far as new ships. This came up too during Sea Trade, but we've got different cruise lines, smaller cruise lines, and one is Scenic, and what they do is Scenic is part of another cruise line, but they have Emerald Cruises too. But they just announced that with Emerald Cruises, they've got a new addition to their Emerald Cruises fleet of luxury yachts, and it's going to be called the Emerald Kea. And it's their new super yacht, which is going to be sailing on different ways as far as luxury and adventure. And as far as their new luxury super yacht, the Emerald Kea, she accommodates 128 guests and will introduce different innovations, including the indoor-outdoor sky deck, enhanced dining with private and alfresco options, expanded gym with opportunities for open-air workouts, leisure accommodations, and once again, during their 2026 to 2027 inaugural season of the Emerald Kea, she'll bring guests to the coastlines and smaller ports in the Mediterranean, the Aegean, and the Adriatic Seas, to the Red Sea and also Seychelles. So once again, just another thing to think about too, because if you think about a super yacht, but this is great. It's a brand new ship, super yacht actually, for Emerald Cruises, which just announced their Emerald Kea. So that's really, I think, kind of a fun announcement too. And then some other things that came up too. I'll share more about Sea Trade in a minute, but one thing I wanted to mention too, what just kind of came up last week, I also like to share stories about how cruise lines can actually, they go above and beyond, they rescue people too. And something came up actually on April 3rd, last week. A Celebrity Cruise Line ship actually rescued a group of people from another vessel that was between Cuba and Mexico. And it was on the Celebrity Apex. The Celebrity Apex actually encountered a small vessel adrift, and they were in need of assistance. And so what they did was the ship's crew immediately launched a rescue operation, safely bringing 7 people on board, and the crew provided them with medical attention and was working closely with the U.S. Coast Guard too. And the ship had just departed from Fort Lauderdale for a week-long cruise with stops in Key West, Belize, Cozumel, Mexico, and the Grand Cayman. And once again, the ship notified the Coast Guard of the rescue, and once again, it just goes back to what they do too. Cruise lines will, if they will rescue people too, which is great. So it's just a really, really great positive story, because once again, just a way that cruise lines really, really find ways to give back, and they work together too. But I want to share that because that just came up on April 3rd too. And some other things too. We've got new ships coming out, of course. You've got expansion going on as far as the ports themselves. Port Miami, of course, is getting an expanded terminal that will be used by MSC Cruises, their new ship, which will be debuting next year on April 9th. And so that's good to know too, because you can have so many different places to sail off from if you want to. Of course, Port Galveston is one where Carnival Cruise Line actually just christened their new ship, the Carnival Jubilee. She's sailing you around from Port Galveston, which is great, gives you more options. Of course, we've got beautiful ports in outside of Orlando, Port Canaveral. It's about an hour away from downtown Orlando. Of course, Brightline Trains gives you some options to go there too if you want to. But you've got Port Everglades and Fort Lauderdale is great, and of course Port Miami is growing like crazy, and that so it's kind of like the key point of when cruising started years and years ago, over 50 some years ago. And of course you've got Port Areas in New York City, which are growing like crazy in a good way too. And also, of course, if you're looking for Alaska, you can sail from Seattle besides Vancouver. And of course, what's been growing like crazy in a good way too is the river cruising. I mentioned that before because you've got really beautiful river cruise lines sailing from different places. They give you so many options to actually see Europe in unique ways. And I know that the Avalon, which is a river cruise line, they just christened their new ship. Also, Riverside Electric Cruises just christened their ship earlier in March at a cruise conference. But we're seeing a lot of that going on too. And once again, with the river cruise line ships, they're smaller capacity, all inclusive, and they really are a great way to see different parts of Europe, depending on what you want to see. And we're seeing different growth areas too, because once again, it makes it easier if you decide to take a river cruise if you want to maybe experience Europe, because it's an easier way to travel. As I mentioned before, the river cruise line ships are basically your hotel. You don't have to worry about getting to another hotel. It's a great way to really experience Europe, and I definitely want to do that too. Also, what's good too is as far as trying to sail maybe on the U.S. rivers in the United States, you've got an option. American Cruise Lines, which has been around for a long time, actually just did acquire the 4 ships that were owned by American Clean Voyages. American Clean Voyages, unfortunately, they went under after their parent company decided to sell them off too. But I know the American Cruise Lines just acquired 4 of their ships, which is great. So once again, it's another way to really see different ways of experiencing the U.S. riverways too. And of course, with American Cruise Lines, they've got their own ships coming out too, and they actually build their own ships, which is great too. So definitely keep that in mind, because if you want to see beautiful areas of the U.S. with history behind them, it's definitely a way to really kind of experience it more than ever too. So definitely keep that in mind, because I know that they build their own smaller ships, and they're doing some beautiful things too, which is great too. So definitely keep that in mind, because it's just another way to really, if you're interested in maybe exploring different areas of the United States and don't want to have to worry about traveling there, hopping hotels, whatever, it's a great way to really experience the rivers in the United States and see some history areas too. Mark, did you have any questions for me yet or not?
How's it going there?
Good, good. But a lot of exciting things this week at C-Train. I'm still trying to collect my thoughts together because there's so much going on.
Yeah, one of the questions I had is, it is about to be the end of tax season because that date is coming up. So I was just wondering if there's ways that people can use cruises as deductions. 'Cause I don't know that. Maybe some people are thinking about doing that as well. If they're thinking about going on cruises, and they might want to use those as tax deductions. But I don't know if that's even a thing or not.
Probably not. I mean, you'd have to ask your CPA, but the point is, it's a vacation. I mean, yeah, it's not, it really wouldn't be used for tax. I could use it to get your refund back and then use it booked on a cruise to relax and enjoy things.
Yep, that makes sense. Yeah, definitely got to be careful, and they might just add it as something that you put as one of your expenses along those lines.
Right, but not really because it's a vacation. I mean, in my case, well, what's good too is
Yeah,
sometimes
one of the
a good
questions I
example
have is,
was with
it is
the
about to be hold on, let me get an echo. Get a little bit of an echo there because I was. Hold on.
okay.
There we go.
No, what they do is they've got this ASTA, American Society of Trail Advisors. They've been around for a long time. What they do is they've been doing a special conference over in Europe
Mm-hmm.
every year now. This is the third year they've done it, and what they've done is they've christened ships right there and sailed out for a couple of days, which is great. And of course, people are there for the conference, which is a business expense, but they've been doing some really, really great things there too. And once again, with the river cruise line growing like crazy, I just think it's a great option to think about too. I mean, I love taking ships myself. I love the waters, the ocean waters, but once again, it's a different way to really explore different things in a safe way, especially if you're thinking about Europe, because Europe to me would be so complex. I know I get lost. Even if I try to do a tour, I get lost, okay?
Oh, yeah.
This way, the ship basically is your floating hotel. It takes you places.
Mm-hmm.
And they take you to amazing places. Good thing, too, is with these river cruise line ships, of course, they have navigate the waters in Europe and other places, too. So they're small,
Oh,
You're
yeah.
not, and the cruise lines, of course, some regular cruise lines do go to they do some Mediterranean cruises, too, but they have to make sure the ships they use are not like their mega ships, so to speak.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I can definitely see that, and all along those lines and everything. The other thing I was curious about is definitely you mentioned those things that are of those kind of daredevil things that are on some of the ships, and I'm with you. I don't know that I'm going to try those kind of things that are daredevil like. I don't even do those on the roller coasters, and yeah, I'm thinking there
No,
might be some
when
roller
I saw
coasters
when I
on some of
saw
these
this
ships,
one,
and all along those lines. But I'm not going to do a roller coaster in the middle of the ocean and everything.
no, 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 no. And they got racetracks too. I've seen racetracks, but I haven't really driven a car on the racetrack. They've got those too. In fact, I saw one Norwegian Cruise Line was on one of their new ships a couple years ago. But when this thing came out with this new attraction, swings 160 feet over the water. It's called their cliffhanger. I thought,
Well,
no, I don't think I want to do a cliffhanger. It's kind of funny. You look at the picture, but
yep.
I thought, I don't think I'd do it. I mean, it's safe, of course, but no, no. You as little kids used to swing on the ground
Yeah,
and
I'm
you
with
swing
you.
with
I'm
your
not
head
going
back
to
and
do the
forth.
cliffhanger.
Yeah, I wouldn't ever do that. Even as an adult, wouldn't do that. Swings are fine, but once again, I think about swings. That's more for little kids, right?
Yep.
Not for adults. And this is a whole different capacity. I thought, well, I don't think I would do that
No, I'm
myself.
not going to do that at all. I don't have any major videos this time because I'm at, as you can tell, one of my work jobs and everything. But when we close out, we'll do Dr. Sylvia Earle again, since she's always doing amazing things. And they've got that older commercial with her that we still like to show. So we'll talk about Dr. Sylvia Earle when you end, but you still got
Yes.
about another 15 minutes or so. So I'm going to turn it back over to
About
you.
10
But
minutes, I can wrap more things up from the conference. 'Cause once again, it's just mind blowing, everything going on. I mean, we had lots of press conferences, and I had a chance to see some people, and just there's so much to see and do, and just a lot going on, but just good things too. Once again,
oh, yeah.
the cruise industry is just really growing like crazy in very, very good ways, especially with the sustainability. They really care about what's going on as far as sustainability. And once again, they spend some time, of course, as far as because the people that were there, they had people representing different companies that actually build cruise ships, also people that provide supplies. It's amazing. I mean, the expo area was just huge. I didn't get a chance to see all of it, but it was a great experience to see it. I missed out on seeing some people, but there's a company there, Triton. They build submarines, which is great, and but different things like that too. That you don't realize all the things that go on as far as supplies and what they do to build cruise ships and what's involved, because it's a really, really amazing industry and just so many things are going on. And it's good to share those kinds of things too, because once again, I think today more than ever, the cruise lines really focus on what their guests want. They see what they want, and they can. What's good too is they can actually do some renovations on ships, of course, in addition to then building new cruise ships, which we're seeing a lot of now too, including Norwegian Corporation's announcement of having 8 new ships coming out in the next several years. Of course, we got Disney building their new ship coming out too shortly, but it's good to see new ships coming out and just building the excitement. Once again, you can see just an intense thing they're doing to really customize that to their guests, what they want to see too. More flexibility, options as far as dining. Today it's not just early late dining, but options more than ever, and they announced that too, which is great too. And once again, it was just great to see what's going on in the industry because once again, there's a lot of growth and just amazing what they're doing too. Because just it's a growing business, and I think we've gotten through the situation that came up with COVID-19 coronavirus, and but there are so many different press conferences coming up too, and the one that's really exciting too is with Windstar Cruises, of course, because they actually are acquiring. I mean, two new ships being built too for them too, and they're very luxury, but just very smaller capacity too, and just gives them a new dimension too. Of course, besides the Norwegian Corporation, MSC Cruises, with their new ship coming out next year, and the focus on really kind of customizing it to the American audience too. Hence the name. And once again, something came up too is I know that we see a lot of new productions coming on board cruise line ships too. One was just announced actually today was Han America Line. What they've done is they're enhancing their entertainment with new productions and more. Han America Line is adding to their entertainment lineup. They've got the introduction of several new mainstay experiences this year. They got 4 new shows and a fresh spin on their classic production format too, which is great. Also, they've got some new productions. That's going to be a variety of different performances. They're focused on local culture, where the cruise lines are sailing. Also, on the main stage too, they're adding, I think this is fun, a Rolling Stone lounge to many of their ships. And then it was going to enhance their popular Billboard Hour music entertainment experience too, which is great. Something else they mentioned too was, over the years they've really built entertainment experience at sea. They work with world-class musicians and dancers, and they just announced this kind of more updates too. But actually, beginning earlier this year in February, Han America is set to debut actually 4 shows, and that will reunite singing and dancing and new main stage experiences too. For instance, they've got some new shows. A few include Song and Dance, which is set in a studio backlot, and they've got the Class Act, which is a Las Vegas goes to sea, and they've got their All That. This is where guests can be part of the studio audience, and it takes place in the classic TV variety shows of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. They've also got headliners, which includes a spotlight combining singing, dancing, and then they've got some new shows that are just debuting right now. And once again, complementing their new shows on main stage. I know how America is featuring some specifics that are to each region. For instance, they'll have something specific for cruises sailing to Alaska, others to Europe, Caribbean, etc. And so it's good to know what they're doing too. But I think it's kind of fun when they're going to have that Rolling Stone Lounge.
It
Okay,
sounds
so
like a rig show. Sounds like a lot of fun and everything.
yeah, but this Rolling
Sounds
Stone
amazing.
Lounge, I just found it says it's going to showcase a 7-piece band playing everything from rock to pop to the R&B, and it's on their, let's see, was added to the Eurodom and their Amsterdam in December this past year in 2023, but they're adding more to it too, which is great. So just kind of fun that they've got this Rolling Stone Lounge.
Wow, the Rolling Stone Lounge. That sounds amazing. I did
Oh,
have
and
one
something else.
other unusual
Yes,
question for you and
yes,
everything because I
yeah.
was thinking about it, and I remember that a friend of mine or an acquaintance wrote a book about unusual animals that they had seen on their planes because they had definitely seen about like kangaroos and other things on the planes, and I know that the ships will allow cats and dogs, but I was just wondering what was the most unusual animal that you ever saw on your various ship trips, whether it was either in a cage or just out and about.
No, I haven't. When you go to cruise ports and you get off the ship, you can do different experiences too, which is great too. It's a great way to kind of see the wildlife too, but it's just very,
Hmm.
very, very, very special places because they happened to me. I was at I think Grand Cayman, and I did a shore excursion. Came back, but I went to one area really, really pretty, and they actually had it was a place that had, it was wildlife too, but always very, very it was all special.
Right.
But they had like alligators right there.
Oh, wow.
Okay, I mean they're behind, but it's really beautiful to see the different things they did too. It was great, But once
Yeah.
again, you couldn't touch the alligator, which is great because you don't lose your hand.
Yep, don't want to touch the alligator. I do remember on the one cruise I went that literally there was I think it was a lizard or some of those other kind of small animals. It might have been a gecko, but it was really right next to the bar restaurant because we were eating outside, and I remember
Right.
it was looking at me like it was just on the bench, and it was looking at me like, "Why are you here? Yeah, I'm the one that's supposed to be here."
Well, it probably said, "Okay, I want some food," right?
Exactly.
No, kind of funny. Actually, when I was walking back from somewhere, I saw little green lizards kind of
Hmm.
hiding, but they're green, small
Right.
ones. I mean, I was going back to the from the Miami Beach Convention Center back to because there's a long way to go. Beautiful areas. But I was going back that way, and I saw some little lizards kind of sneaking this way.
Right.
Be
Yeah, he's
safe,
trying to get
guys.
his food.
I don't know, because people out there, the area is really, really pretty, and like I said, there's a waterway there too, which is great. But people there were, on the other day, they could ride bikes, whatever too. But it's kind of funny to see little lizards like that just kind of flying away.
Yep.
Okay, something else I want to mention too about seed trade was every year. Okay, Bill Pianoff, he is an amazing person, and he's got PPI Group. He's got a great story. He actually worked on a cruise ship in his first part of his career.
Mm.
Magician, okay. Then he
Okay.
moved up. He worked on Carnival Cruise Lines for several years, different roles. I think cruise director too. But he decided to set up his own company, and it's called PPI Group. And what he does is he does different publications. He's got his Porthole magazine, and then for a long time he did Porthole Insider, which was once a year that was distributed at Sea Trade. And in 2005, I had some people that connected me with Bill, and I actually wrote once a year an article for his Porthole Insider magazine. The first one I wrote was about women cruise line executives, and just different things. One I focused on next year was more on cuisine, whatever, and the last one I did was as far as the evolution of cruising. And then what happened was he lost a big account, so he phased it out. But the fun thing is at the Sea Trade Cruise Global Conference, he always does this special porthole party one evening. It's an amazing experience, and you have to RSVP. But what you do is you walk in, and you have your picture taken with Bill, and they'll talk to you, and then you go inside. They have different drinks and snacks, whatever, too. Beautiful. I mean, it's all complimentary. And then you go into another area. He has live entertainment there for hours. Amazing what they're doing, and people just get into it. But the funny thing is, I was there for several hours. It started, 8 o'clock. I left before midnight, but I know some people stayed a lot longer. But what happened was I saw Bill Pianoff the next day, okay?
Well,
And he says, "Well, thanks for coming to the Porthole Party." He says, "Okay, I'm going to put the sticker on you." The sticker he gave me was called, right here.
I survived the Port Hall party. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. "I survived 2024 Porthole Party." He put the sticker on me right here, okay?
Wow.
And I saw different people. In fact, one is actually the CEO of Riverside Luxury Cruises. She was there till about midnight. She came, of course, the next day she did a PR presentation. And I talked to her briefly because she had to race out to get back to a flight. I said, "You didn't get your sticker." I said, "You got to talk to Bill, okay?" She said, "Yep, I should have got my sticker." But it was people like crazy. They saw my sticker like, "How'd you get that?" I said, "Bill, put it on me."
Mm.
It's a great, I mean, some people didn't leave till like maybe 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. But it's beautiful, and the entertainment is just amazing. And he gave us these flashy light things too
Right.
to put on. If we wanted to, it was just amazing period. A lot of good experiences, energy like crazy, but just so yes, I survived the 2024 Porthole Party.
Sounds like it.
And I
Cool.
took my picture and I put it on Facebook like crazy. Okay, now, did you survive?
You survived.
Yes, I
That's
did.
a
It
good
was
thing.
great. It was great.
Cool.
But a lot of good things. I'll share more. This next week, I'm going to be going to a different cruise conference. It's one
Okay.
done by the Cruise Lines International Association. But they do great stuff too. So I'll be there. But I'm more news to update maybe in the next week or so too, because I'll be
All right.
traveling that last day. So
Sounds good.
yeah, yeah, it's good.
So whenever you're ready, we'll go to Sylvia Earle and wrap
Right.
it up because I know good shit
Yes,
happens all the time.
it does. Yes, let's go to Sylvia Earle. She's great.
All right, good.
I'm Dr. Sylvia Earle, a marine biologist, oceanographer, explorer, and I'm passionate about the protection of this blue planet. I grew up next to the ocean in the Gulf of Mexico, and I've witnessed how much the ocean has changed and how marine life has been endangered. But I know there is still time to help the ocean, which is why I was drawn to the Aponte family's sustainability mission. Explorer Journeys has a genuine ambition to connect people with the wonders of the sea, its marine life, its communities, spiritually, physically, and intellectually. We share the same values and have the same objectives to deepen people's relationship with the ocean, to explore, protect, and restore. Explorer Journeys calls it the ocean state of mind, a sensibility that will ensure the protection of this precious blue planet. Through my foundation, Mission Blue, we're working on ocean conservation, inspiring hope with champions across the world. Beginning with my extraordinary role as godmother to Explorer One, we will be heralding a meaningful collaboration between myself, Mission Blue, and Explorer Journeys and the MSC Foundation towards preserving and restoring the world's oceans, the blue heart of the planet.
Hi, Richard. How you doing?
Ahoy, Jennifer. Lovely to see you. I'm so excited we're partnering on Virgin Voyages.
Yeah, I'm really excited too, but I was thinking that maybe before we announce it, that we should decide on my official title at Virgin Voyages.
Yes, and I already have a few options for you.
Okay.
What about something catchy like, "Don't be fooled by the ship that I got. I'm now Jenny from the dock.
Okay.
Dame Jennifer Lopez,
Isn't there like a paperwork and like a sword involved?
Supreme Goddess of Mermaids."
You know what? Let's just tackle the title thing later. I'm just excited to share our gorgeous ships with the whole world.
Okay, look, I'll brainstorm a little more and catch up soon on it. Mermaid in Manhattan?